Hi dear friends and subscribers, welcome to this edition of Cricket Happenings today. In this particular Cricket Happenings show, we are going to talk about the second day's play where Australia once again dominating proceedings after recovering yesterday in a very wonderful way through that 199 run partnership which went on to actually end with a partnership of 231 with centuries to, as you know, Shaun Marsh made 148 with 15 fours, and Stephen Smith going on to make a century with 13 fours, and it was a 231 run stand for the fifth wicket, which ended. But after that, even though there was a brief, not resistance, a briefly good batting from Mitchell Johnson and Ryan Harris after Brad Haddin unfortunately was a failure as it was LBW bowled Peterson for a duck. The Australian score, even though as I said, the partnership was worth 231 runs, 331 for 5, and after that with Mitchell Johnson making 33 of 54 balls with 6 fours and Ryan Harris contributing 19 runs with 2 boundaries, the Australian score ended up at 397 all out. So as far as today's play was concerned, it was first to go was the century, the 231 run stand was ended with Smith being the first one to go, as Stephen Smith was caught by Peterson of the bowling of McLaren for 100 with 13 fours, and the next to go was Brad Haddin. Now Brad Haddin, as you know, he had a wonderful Ashes series, but here Brad Haddin failed on his first dig in South Africa as he was gone for a blob. After that it was left to Mitchell Johnson and Ryan Harris. Now Mitchell Johnson and Ryan Harris came in after Shaun Marsh was dismissed for 148 with 15 fours, as he was the only victim that Philander claimed today. And then it was Mitchell Johnson playing some handsome strokes, making, as I said, 33 runs of 54 balls with 6 fours, and the partnership from 348 it rose to 391 thanks to that partnership between Ryan Harris and Mitchell Johnson, with Johnson contributing 33 and Ryan Harris contributing 19. But then Dale Steyn came in and wiped up the tail by clean bowling Ryan Harris for 19 and Peter Siddle for 2. Nathan Lyon was not out on 4, and Australia's innings wound up at 397. Now Dale Steyn was the most successful bowler, 29 overs, 6 maidens, 78 runs and 4 wickets for him. Vernon Philander, 24 overs, 5 maidens, 69 runs and 1 wicket. Morne Morkel, 22 overs, 5 maidens, 1 for 73. Ryan McLaren got 1 wicket today, 2 for 72. He got the wicket of Stephen Smith, 20 overs, 4 maidens, 1 for 72. 2 for 72 in fact. Robin Peterson got the wicket of Mitchell Johnson, so he got 15 overs, no maiden, 2 for 49. And Duminy, 12 overs, 1 maiden, none for 44. Now 397 all out. Probably Australia would have expected that they could score in excess of 450, but unfortunately due to Brad Haddin not really firing, they really didn't go on to that particular score. But the 397 was absolutely enough for Australia, because what they did, they reduced South Africa to a very, very tough situation at 140 for 6 at close of play on the second day of this first test match between Australia and South Africa at the Centurion. Well, just talking to you about how the South African innings progressed. It all started with Mitchell Johnson once again, the man of the moment in the Ashes series, after doing brilliantly well. In fact, once again showed what a great bowler he is by combining pace, bounce and movement to really floor the South Africans. It all started with Graeme Smith. As you know, in the last series, one would remember that Mitchell Johnson was the man who actually broke the arm of Graeme Smith, and definitely Graeme Smith would have had some nerves there. And then when Mitchell Johnson came in after Ryan Harris bowled the first over, Mitchell Johnson was given the new ball, and Mitchell Johnson with the red cherry struck in a great manner. As what he did is he actually got a rip snorter to Graham Smith. As I said, Graham Smith probably psychologically he knew that Mitchell Johnson is in some great form, and he has also hit him on the arm. I actually sent him to hospital in their last meeting. So this time Mitchell Johnson came in and produced a real rip snorter to Graham Smith, which it rose of such a to such a degree with a lot of pace and bounce, and Graham Smith was just fending at the delivery. In fact, he had to just keep the ball away from his face. The ball went over. It was actually lobbing over the slips, but Sean Marsh was the man who held out and took that catch, and that was the first wicket to go, with Mitchell Johnson bowling with some electrifying pace. So Graham Smith, the first one to go, caught Marsh, bowled Johnson for 10 with 2 boundaries, and South Africa were 11 for 1. So after that, Alvaro Peterson and Hashim Amla were in the middle. Hashim Amla came in and joined Alvaro Peterson as one drop, and after that Mitchell Johnson, already buoyed up by taking the wicket of Smith, once again struck in the 6th over of the innings, as Alvaro Peterson, trying to flash at a ball which was outside the off stump from Johnson, played into the hands of Brad Haddin, the wicket keeper, and he was gone for 2, and that made the score 15 for 2. After that, du Plessis came in and joined Hashim Amla. Well, Hashim Amla was not really getting his bearings right. He was struggling. He was really tested. In fact, the Australian bowlers were sticking to a very good line. They were using the bouncer in a wonderful manner, and they were making good use of the bounce on the South African pitches. And du Plessis was another victim, as another short stuff came in from Mitchell Johnson once again, who came in and bowled a delivery which du Plessis had to nothing else but fend at it, and the catch was taken by Michael Clarke. This was another good delivery from Johnson. Again the ball rose to a great degree and actually took the handle of the bat of du Plessis and went on to the slip cordon, where Michael Clarke took the catch, and du Plessis was walking after making 3 runs, and South Africa were really in trouble at 23 for 3, and Mitchell Johnson was breathing fire, having taken all the 3 wickets. Hashim Amla, well, as I said, there was a lot of pressure on the South African batsmen, so Hashim Amla was really struggling to get his timing right. He was tested by a lot of short ones, and as A.B. de Villiers joined Hashim Amla. And once Hashim Amla and A.B. de Villiers slowly pushed the score along to 43, that was the time Siddle was thrust into the attack, and Siddle immediately struck by getting the wicket of Hashim Amla with a full-length delivery, and Hashim Amla actually got the ball to nip in to Hashim Amla, and Hashim Amla was trapped in front. LBW bowled Siddle for 17 with 2 boundaries, which made the South African innings all the more worser at 43 for 4, with Duminy and A.B. de Villiers at the crease. But A.B. de Villiers, well, what he showed was that he was willing to take on Johnson. He played some nice drives of Johnson for boundaries, and after that, not only that, A.B. de Villiers also hit a beautiful shot off his hips. He actually put Johnson over the fine leg boundary for a 6. That was a beautiful shot. And then Duminy and A.B. de Villiers slowly started, I would say, they were trying to improve matters for South Africa, and they were partly succeeding in that. And the partnership was slowly trying to build a partnership, and they had actually gone on to a 57-run partnership. And when the partnership reached 57, that was the time Nathan Lyon actually flighted a delivery to Duminy. Duminy took the opportunity to loft the delivery, and it went in the air, and it was once again Mitchell Johnson. As you know, Mitchell Johnson first he did very well with the bat for Australia. Then he came in and picked up 3 wickets, and now here was Mitchell Johnson, now always in the picture there, taking a beautiful catch of the bowling of Nathan Lyon, and Duminy was walking after making 25 runs with 1 4 and 1 6, and half the South African side were into the pavilion with the score on 110. After that, Ryan McLaren came in. Mitchell Johnson was brought back into the attack, and Mitchell Johnson once again struck, this time picking up his 4th wicket here, as Ryan McLaren was clean bowled by Mitchell Johnson for 8 runs, and that made the score 126 for 6. After that, A.B. de Villiers went on to get his 50. In fact, he was joined in by Robin Peterson, and Robin Peterson had to really survive a very torrid time against Mitchell Johnson, who after getting that 4 wickets was really bowling with more pace and more venom, as he actually had Robin Peterson given a torrid time by testing him with a few bouncers and short ones. And then A.B. de Villiers also, even though he was playing well, he was also tested pretty severely by Mitchell Johnson, as in fact one was a bit surprised that A.B. de Villiers has gone on to bat without an elbow guard or an arm guard, and Mitchell Johnson was the man who actually hit him on the elbow and then the magic spray was brought in for A.B. de Villiers, and A.B. de Villiers survived the day finally, with Robin Peterson also getting a ball which actually rose on him, but luckily he was there to survive. Robin Peterson was not out on 10 with 2 fours, with this partnership having put on 14 runs, with South Africa, who would be resuming on the morrow at 140 for 6. But A.B. de Villiers, what A.B. de Villiers did is that he went on to make a 50, and not only this 50 was his 11th consecutive 50 in Test cricket, and this has been done only by, it was a very proud record. He joined Sir Isaac Vivian Alexander Richards of West Indies and 2 Indian batsmen, Gautam Gambhir and Virendra Sehwag, the most successful Indian openers, now not in favour with the Indian selectors. And as A.B. de Villiers went on to went on to make his 11th consecutive 50 in Test cricket, and as I said, there are only 3 people who have done this in Test cricket, which belong to Vivian Richards, Sehwag and Gambhir, and A.B. de Villiers now is the 4th person to have made 11 consecutive Test half centuries. And A.B. de Villiers was not out not out on 52 with 4 fours and 1 6. Robin Peterson was not out on 10 with 2 fours, and South Africa finally going to definitely wanting to go to the wanting the day to end, and as bad light and rain stopped play, South Africa would have been very happy and that they would be only coming and playing on the morrow. They finished at 140 for 6, so that essentially means there's still a long way to go. In fact, they still need 257 runs, so another 57 runs if South Africa could make tomorrow, they would be avoiding the follow-on, as you would know, because 397 was what Australia made, so they have to essentially make 197. But well, A.B. de Villiers is that, but as I said, tomorrow it's going to be a testing time for South Africa, because I'm sure Mitchell Johnson will get the advantage of the dew on the pitch early in the morning. Ryan Harris is also bowling superbly. So Mitchell Johnson, pick of the bowlers, 13.3 overs, 1 maiden, 51 runs and 4 wickets. And Ryan Harris, 12 overs, 3 maidens, none for 33, bowled excellently, I thought. Peter Siddle, 7 overs, 1 for 21. Nathan Lyon also picking up a wicket, 11 overs, no maiden, 1 for 23. Now, for one thing I will say, as far as as I said, when this battle started between South Africa and Australia, I very much said that it is a clash of the pace bowling. It is going to be a test of the pace bowling. This is a battle between the South African pace bowlers and Australian pace bowlers, and I can definitely say here that with Mitchell Johnson taking 4 wickets, Australia have definitely won the first round in this pace battle between South Africa and Australia going into day 3. Well, so let's get on from here. Today we are going to see the second test match, which is going to be starting between New Zealand and India. As you know, the first test match went off in a real great manner with India actually rolling out New Zealand for 105, even though New Zealand made 501, and then finally India chasing the target, falling short by 49 runs. But now the second test match is going to be played between India and New Zealand today. It is going to be played at the Basin Reserve in Wellington. It's a greenish pitch, and definitely we are going to see the pitch dominate there. There's no doubt about that. And for New Zealand, they have Tim Southee. But one thing for New Zealand here, but I'm not doing a real preview here, I'm just going to talk about it. But for New Zealand, one weakness for them is that Ross Taylor is unfortunately not there in the team due to personal reasons. And Ross Taylor in the current form that he is, I'm sure New Zealand are going to definitely miss him, which is sad. But probably one would see Tom Latham and Jimmy Neesham, the all-rounder, making their debuts tomorrow, because I'm sure East Sodhi would be left out, because Jimmy Neesham is a medium pacer, so he would be. So they will have a bowling attack consisting of Tim Southey, Neil Wagner, Trent Bolt, and Jimmy Neesham, and as I said, Tom Latham. So we would see two Test match debuts for Tom Latham and Jimmy Neesham. And as far as India are concerned, for India, one has to see whether there are going to be any changes, because considering the fact that this is going to be a greenish tinge pitch, I wouldn't be surprised. But again, Ravindra Jadeja, no, it's going to be a very, I'm sure the Indian selectors will be in a quandary, and also Mahendra Singh Dhoni, as to who to drop, because Ravindra Jadeja played well, and if at all they want to drop, because one was thinking probably Ishwar Pandey could be given a chance, along with Zahir Khan, Mohammad Shami, and Ishan Sharma, or Bhuvaneshwar Kumar can come in, but whether India would be forced to actually take that gamble, one does not know, because as I said, this is going to be a greenish tinge pitch, and the quicks are going to dominate. And as you know, in Basin Reserve in Wellington, we have always seen that a lot of wickets fall pretty early. There will be a lot of nip around for the seamers, and the weather forecast is looking pretty good, and we should have a good game of cricket. So the second test starts here at the Basin Reserve in Wellington. And then let's look at another 2020 match which is coming up, the final T20 match, and this is going to bring, I'm not sure whether this is the last match on this Bangladesh tour of Sri Lanka before the T20 World Cup and the Asia Cup. But as you know, Bangladesh and Sri Lanka played a last ball thriller yesterday at the Sheikh Zayed, I think it was Zahid. It was in Chittagong, I suppose. The first match was played, and it was a last ball thriller. Now, the one thing that Bangladesh and Sri Lanka could do, with only one match to go, whether they would be forced to do some experiments, because the main thing is that they can do some experimentation now, because with the T20 World Cup coming in. So whether Bangladesh could bring in probably Mahmudullah could come into the team, or probably they could play Mominul Haq, and I'm really surprised that in a T20 match Mominul Haq, who did very well in the test matches, does not figure, because I thought he has a lot of range of strokes, and he could be, according to me, could be a very important player as far as T20 is concerned. But probably Bangladesh might be tempted to actually try out Sabir Rahman, who has done well in domestic cricket with a very good strike rate. Probably they might plump for him. So it would be interesting to see. Even for Sri Lanka, there is a possibility that they would go for some experimentation. The reason being, after this is going to be the T20 World Cup and the Asia Cup. So the Asia Cup and then the T20 World Cup. So and there is a possibility that Ashan Priyanjan, who did wonderfully well against Pakistan on his debut, would probably be pitchforked into this particular Sri Lankan squad. And Angelo Pereira, who is a great all-rounder, in the sense he has done very well as far as Sri Lankan domestic cricket is concerned, and is a good hitter of the ball too, also might probably find his place. So basically what we are seeing as far as the next T20, which is coming up between Bangladesh and Sri Lanka tomorrow or today, is basically we are going to see that both the teams will be doing some experimentation, keeping in view that the T20 World Cup is round the corner, and also the Asia Cup. But T20 basically, because this is T20, and they would like to do some experimentation, see how things are shaping up, and see what is the best combination to actually play. So South Africa, so Bangladesh and Sri Lanka would be doing a lot of experimentation. The other news that I would like to tell you, dear fans and subscribers, is Hong Kong are going to be playing the first T20 World Cup in Bangladesh this year, and they have actually announced their squad for the T20 World Cup, which is coming up in Bangladesh in the month of March. Well, on this note, dear fans, friends and subscribers, I am ending my cricket show for today. Hope you all liked it. and see you all in my next Cricket Happening show, which will be tomorrow. Until then, it's goodbye. Thank you.